Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I have my Crypto Morning Coffee locked and loaded, ready to go today with the Ecomi mug. Let's see if that brings us something. And we are going to go over some very, very interesting topics. First of all, obviously, Bitcoin breakout and why it broke out. And then also some economic news that I think is very relevant more for the long term. But then we are going to look at many indicators why Bitcoin is headed for an even bigger move, and how that could look like. And we are going to talk obviously about mega Bitcoin long stacking, because there are some indicators that the longs are being stacked like crazy. And then we are going into some NFT news as well that are relevant. If you're watching this later and not as a live stream, then make sure to check out the video description if the timestamps are already there. But all of that after the intro. Good morning, everyone. Sip of coffee. And I want to ask you guys if you could smash the like button for me. Thanks for the like. And we also have energy already here. This time I didn't sleep during the night, so no miss today. Greetings from the Veveverse. Oh yeah, right, because energy is not allowed to talk about it, but he's testing the Veveverse. Anyways, guys, if you are new here, then make sure to smash up the like button and also tick the little bell to always get notified. Subscribe, obviously, and then tick the bell whenever I start these live streams. And if you want, you can also become a sponsor of this channel. You see them behind me, in the sense that you're a channel member, obviously. In return, we do not take any of these shitty channel sponsorships, where I probably would get way more money for now, at least. But we don't do that, so I'm really grateful for everyone that is here behind me, minted on the screen. And our newest member, Adam, is in the family, that little Hulk there with the number 18. So 2 more mint numbers below 20 available, and then we're headed already in the 20s. Obviously not everyone is staying around forever, but that makes it more scarce if you have a certain number. Anyways, let's start out with the news. And first of all, I think we should look at the macro, and that is that global stocks fall and the dollar rallies on weak China data, and yet even the dollar rallying, Bitcoin is up, and the big question is why. And that is here within this text, basically. Moody's banking downgrade triggers Wall Street sell-off, but it has triggered also Bitcoin to go up, because whenever now apparently banks suffer weakness, Bitcoin is going up. We have seen that before when Credit Suisse was in trouble, when around 5 banks imploded within the massive rate hiking of the Fed, that Bitcoin actually had a problem. That Bitcoin went up and the banks had a problem. Sorry about that. We have Conquer here. Good morning, and Motili, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here. So Moody is downgrading 10 small to mid-size US banks, and that is what caused Bitcoin to go up, essentially. China's trade data was worse than forecasted in July, raising concerns about the global economic outlook. The yuan slid to a 3-week low as Asian stocks and the Australian New Zealand dollars, seen as proxies of Chinese growth, turned weaker. The data heightened pressure for China to provide fresh stimulus to prop up demand. So exports also down 14% for China. So China is a little bit in trouble there. And then oil rises on higher US growth outlook, and China import slump ways. So we are not going to read all of that, but keep an eye on oil, because I have a very interesting indicator, a very interesting chart for you that actually shows a correlation between oil and Bitcoin. But first of all, let's talk more about banks, because the US Fed has announced an oversight program for banks' involvement with crypto firms. So the limitations set out in the Federal Reserve's new novel activity supervision program provides additional measures to its original policy statement laid out in January, and basically they're aiming to limit certain crypto-related activities and facilitate a more fair playing field for banks involved in servicing the digital asset industry. So the program is an additional measure to the general statement. And basically it's all about Fed supervision for banks, and that they still want to regulate and influence in the crypto space, which is okay. I mean, they're a financial regulator, but they should be regulating and not just attacking. That is what was expected from them. Maybe you are watching shorts, maybe not. I have put out a short about this yesterday because I thought it was very interesting news, and very worrying news as well, and that is that the credit card debts hit a record high at $1 trillion total in the US. And if we're looking into the data, it's in total credit balance of 1.03 trillion in the second quarter now. So this is an all-time high. We can see it also here in the quarterly chart. So this is the credit card debts over the time, and we have never been at 1 trillion before. And what we also see is, and that is the most important thing, is that which has not happened here before, is that also the interest rates on credit card debt are on a 40-year high. So they are over 20%. I don't know if they've written it here, but what is also worrying then is that the youngest Americans, age 18 to 29, had the highest credit card delinquency rates in the second quarter, according to the NY Fed. At least 8.8% were 90 plus days behind, so 3 months behind their usual payments, up from 8.5% of the previous quarter. So actually it's a little bit more than 8.5%. This was followed by the 30 to 39-year-olds who had delinquency rates of 7%. So you see what if you're piling up debt in good times, what happens when you have it in bad times. And then there is even more worrying stuff around these credit card debts, because so high risk of default, obviously, but then there is also the how is that called, the forbearance of the student loans. So it's actually ending right now. So millions of people in the US, especially younger people that are already in this bracket, have to start repaying the student loans once again. So really a lot of people there are in really big trouble. So credit card debt hits $1 trillion, as we see here. And these are consuming loans, basically loans that were taken out, even though in the last years there were a lot of stimulus checks and people had gotten basically free money, even though we are now in this situation. So it's very, very worrying, right? So I think it's safe to say that, or for me at least, if you have ever experienced debt in your family or somewhere else, that getting rid of debt, no matter how small it is, should be one of the number one priorities, right? So paying of debt, especially if debt has no fixed interest rate for until the ending of the time frame, then yeah. So here we see it's right here in the article, student loan repayments to begin. As a deadline for student loan repayments inches closer, some Americans with credit card debt may be worried about how they'll juggle their finance, because then there's nothing where they can juggle to. Several months ago, the NY Fed researchers had the same concerns, but on Tuesday, they noted that the new policy changes will help soften borrowers' reintroduction to student loan repayment. Well, overall, I think it's an overseen topic. Now let's talk about the bullish stuff after the depressing stuff. But first, let's see. So Robert Freeman says, "Good morning to you all. A beautiful morning here in Nebraska, sitting outside watching the show." Wow, that is amazing. Actually, here in Germany, you cannot see it, but right there's a big window, and it's cloudy, it's raining, and it's about 15 degrees, I think. So the summer has abruptly ended in Germany, although it is probably not at the end. Heat is coming back, but still, yeah. So yeah, let's look at a lot of bullish stuff. So first of all, this one here. This is from Crypto Quant, and and there is on several exchanges. So we are looking here at BitMax. Let me tell you what we're looking at. So we're looking at BitMax here, and at Bybit, at Huobi, and at Deribit, where you can put in long positions. And here is you see on the lower part, basically the longs and the shorts, and look at this massive candle. So there is someone or a group who put in the absolute mega long positions at around 29,000 US dollars. The absolute mega long before that breakout. Look, someone is extremely bullish. So bullish that this is, I don't know what this volume is, but I think it is here. Here we see it also. Whales open giga long positions at 29,000. So giga long positions stacked at 4 different exchanges. We see it here actually on Deribit. There is a more history of stacking longs, but I mean on BitMax and on Bybit, it's just absolute nuts. It's absolute crazy, and yeah, we see it here. Also, CryptoQuant says, pro tip to spot old whales giga long short positions, focus on low volume derivative exchanges. Huobi whale longed $16,000 and so on. So that was at the bear market bottom here, this part. But now, yeah, we see basically it here at the low volume derivative exchanges. We see how massive this really is, right? So whales put something here. Energy asks, should I buy XRP or OMI? I don't know, because actually yesterday after the stream, so yesterday I showed everyone who was here yesterday, I showed you the falling wedge pattern and how I think it is going to break out, and it did break out. And right before the breakout, right after the stream yesterday, actually at lunchtime, not directly, but at lunchtime somewhere, I bought Bitcoin. So that's what I did buy, because I want to ride the Bitcoin wave before. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, so that is the long positions. Now let's look at more things that are actually breaking news that are big for Bitcoin. So this one here is more of a rumor, but I think you should know about it. It's put out from Bitcoin Archive. Breaking: BlackRock insiders say spot Bitcoin ETF approval expected in 4 to 6 months, says Mike Novogratz. And yeah, so we see this here as a screenshot. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because both our contracts from the Invesco side and from the BlackRock side gets you think that this is a question of when, not if, that the outside window, this probably 6 months. This is probably 6 months. So and so you are kind of your 4 to 6 months if you had to put a pin the tail on the donkey audit. I don't know what that means, but it's a little bit weird written. But apparently this is from Mike Novogratz. He's bullish. He has been right about Bitcoin many times before. Now, obviously, we do not know for sure if he has any insider notes, but we can at least consider that this is right. And if this is right, and it's 4 to 6 months out, a Bitcoin spot ETF approval, that would bring us to January. So 4 months from now would be actually the 10th or the 9th of December, but it would bring us with 6 months to February or somewhere like right before the halving. That would be absolutely crazy timing, right? Mashankura 8333 says, good morning. Good morning to you. We're looking at the good Bitcoin stuff and what is bullish for Bitcoin after looking at some mixed economic data signals. Robert Freeman says, slowly getting into crypto, watching so I can learn, starting to figure it out. Yeah, and by the way, watch many sources. Don't watch only me or two others or whatever. Watch many sources. Watch also the ones where you're really disgusted about because they are bearish, or because there are YouTubers there are other YouTubers that still call for a lower, like for a new Bitcoin low. And I think you should. I also watch them from time to time just to see what their opinion is based on, because obviously, I mean, they see something in the market and you can look at it and then say, okay, I don't believe this, but it's a good point or whatever. Or you can say, okay, absolute trash, never watch this again. But I like to watch different opinions, and sometimes I'm really like, I don't want to click this because I don't want to even see this, and then I force myself, I click this even though I want to see what this person says. So yeah, watch different sources, not only good old Bitcoin bullish PH, right? And also this counts for Ecomi token and for Veve as well. Watch the bears and the bulls, watch them all and put together your own opinion. Fred Shikyokyang is here. Yo PH, what is going on, Fred? How are you doing? Yeah, so we have this year Bitcoin market cycle by Plan B. So Plan B, I think, is interesting to look at from time to time because he has a mega macro analytics tool, which is a stock to flow model, and some other models that are basically monitoring or predicting Bitcoin movement on a large scale with deviations of several thousands of US dollars where this doesn't care. So yeah, we see it here. Now, this is basically the colors are only marking where we are in a 4-year cycle. So basically we have the early bull, which is blue, and then the late bull, which is green, then the early bear, which is yellow, and the late bear, which is the red one. And as you can see, we are still in the early bull phase right now, and probably we are going to be the 4 to 6 months, right, that Mike Novogratz also mentioned, probably in this early bull phase. So that's for me accumulation phase. So basically I say to myself, everything that I've left over that I can spare and that I can afford to lose is now going into crypto in this early bull stage, right? And probably there will be a little bit more time for the altcoins to react, but we can never be sure. But this is more or less how it always was, right? So we will see, and we also see that we were basically already in the early bear in the first drawdown from Bitcoin, which supports the false top theory, right? And then we headed back into bull territory and then back again. So this is an outlier. Here it was very clean. So we will see if we can go to another run like this where it goes very clean. But I think it's interesting. Now, let's look at this one as well. This is about the altcoins. So if you want something more bullish, then let's look at the altcoins. But it's not the it's not the altcoin market that we're actually looking at. It's the USDT dominance. So the dominance of the US dollar, right, had this wedge and is now falling out. So sell signal has been printed and is now falling out. And that means usually that risk on assets are pumping. So when the USDT falls, the dominance, Bitcoin and altcoins go up. Upward trend broken after 2.5 years, head and shoulders pattern. 2 weekly sell signal, UCTS indicator. Currently backtesting. The last sell signal was in December 2020, just before the parabolic move. If this is a retest, a bullish retest, bearish retest, sorry, and we have the head and shoulders pattern here with a straight neckline, then we'll also probably have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 months until we're really collapsing here. Again, it lines up with the 4 months, right? And maybe we'll also experience a pump during that time for Bitcoin. Will Ethereum follow Bitcoin in this bull market? Yes, I think so. Actually, will it follow right away? I think it will still react a little bit afterwards when Bitcoin profits are dropped into Ethereum. But I think it will have a strong correlation now that it's basically the second big one that you can more or less safely accumulate. But it still lacks the confidence of institutional investors until the SEC appeal to the XRP lawsuit is denied, so that basically everyone can, like institutions, can also drop money into Ethereum and make the moves more violent. But I think yes, I think it will follow, and it will increase percentage-wise more than Bitcoin, obviously. So then this one also very interesting. I promised this to you in the beginning of the stream. We're looking at oil, no joke, but it's super interesting, right? So Bitcoin price correlates with the breakouts from trend lines in crude oil price. As oil has broken out recently, Bitcoin will follow in a parabolic run. So once again, we are looking at correlations between oil and Bitcoin. So you see here, every time there is a breakout and then the run for oil is obviously not as parabolic, but you see here you have a run for oil and then oil collapses and you have a bear market, right? So the breakouts of oil where the trend line, basically the trend changed, have been bullish indicators for Bitcoin. You see it here. So every time this happened, the breakout marked a breakout for Bitcoin. And look at the returns also for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin here did a 74x, then a 47x, and then a 3x, right? So now the big question is, will Bitcoin... I have still the theory that because of the sea crisis before that we see here also with the oil going into the negative, that we had a diminished run, right? So obviously returns are diminishing and we see it here, but I think the run would have, in normal economic conditions, without already looming mega crisis that we had here, plus then the aftermath, that happened within this upper bull run, we would have rallied higher for Bitcoin. I think the target should have been higher already before, but and this was driven by stimuli, but then again also hindered by a bad economic outlook in the entire world, by cracked supply chains that we had seen. We had seen then somewhere here, I think somewhere at the second top, the beginning of the war. We had seen what was there? Yeah, the rate hiking environment starting and so on. So a lot of things. Maybe this next bull run can repeat 3 to maybe 4x. I'm not quite sure about this, but it's very interesting. How long does a typical bull run last for Bitcoin, and do you take profits along the way? How long does it last? Good question. Let's look at it. So the early. Let's go into the week. By the way, we have some more interesting stuff in the charts to look at. So last time, so this was the early bull, right? So coming out of the bottom, the early bull was around 600 days. Yeah, if you consider this the early bull, coming right out of the trough. All right. Okay. So usually the early bull is like 500, and we are a little bit more than half through the early bull. And then the parabolic run was, let's only look at the first top, was only roughly 180 days. Let's compare this here. So you have your bear market trough, and coming out of the trough, let's say this is the, let's say this is the early bull. You cannot really differentiate here because this just made a parabolic curve. But let's say you have the early bull somewhere like this. You have 490 days, so also roughly this, and then you have the parabolic run in 280 days. So that would be, kind of, let's check back to plan B, how that was here. Actually, we cannot see it really, but here also, early bull to, it looks the same almost as I did the measurement here. So you see that there is, and also this was irregular, right? I mean, the way we came out of the bear market trough, and then we should have started rallying already here, and then we got the whole choppy sea crisis crash, come back up, and then it took a long time until we broke out, right? So so right now I'd say if you go from where we left the bear market trough and you just go out here until the halving, more or less, you have your almost 500 days, right, of early bull market. And then from here you should, where is it, April, so let's say I don't know the exact date of the halving on top of my head, but maybe, so let's say you're rallying 200 days, so you should be done in November 24 or December 24 or January 25. So we have marked the Bitcoin top somewhere here, actually in April. I don't know if that will be correct, but we will see. That more or less is it. And I can in the previous streams or in the next streams also, you will see also some cycle comparisons all the time that I pull up just to check back where we are, right? So you see what is marked here is basically the last Bitcoin top, although you could argue that this was the real top here at 64,000, because if you deduct inflation from this Bitcoin top, if you reduce this Bitcoin top by inflation, by the real inflation rate that was there, so you deduct the 8% year over year that this was, more or less, then you end up below this wick. And that also is an indicator for that really being the top here. So yeah, very interesting. Now we have, just for everyone who hasn't seen it, it's a little bit crowded, but so first of all, let's look at the smaller time frame here. We have looked yesterday at this breakout, right, of this falling wedge, and so of the potential breakout. Now it broke out. Let me quickly go into out of the logarithmic scale, because that was basically yesterday why the target was a little bit weird. But let's just say that this is the measure. We should be heading somewhere to retest this overhead resistance, right, from breakout. Let me make this white. Just if we take a measured move here, right? And by the way, guys, this is like me doing my predictions and my amateur. Everyone is probably an amateur, but my amateur TA, right? So far, we have been running pretty good with this amateur TA. But yeah, so the big deal here, Wise Grouch, is, just to explain this to you as well, this mega cup and handle pattern. So this pattern here, it starts here, it has a neckline here, it forms a cup, formed a handle, and basically now we have, yesterday I explained how this inverse is basically this mountain range pattern that we see sometimes before collapsing. And then you have your measured move, and if you're not in logarithmic, which I usually am, but now we're not, so you can measure. You would take this and then you would put it at a potential breakout, yeah, and that's more or less how you get this target. Yeah, I'm not really a friend of all these fine thin lines and super exact. This is where it hits, because I'm not doing like short-term trades, but I like to get an idea from what I'm seeing here where it could go next. So if we break this, then I think we, over the next couple of weeks and months, we should go to 46,000. And it would be awesome if we get somewhere around 50,000 before the halving, right? But right now we see that the breakout happened, but there's also something that we need to consider, and that is the previous support line, right? If we stretch it out, we get rejected here. Of the previous support line. Once again, we got rejected here and we get rejected here right now. We have to break this before and close above it. So what is good is that we have the daily close on this falling wedge, and now we need to break above it. Can we? I don't know. Because the DXY, the dollar index, is actually in the green and is hindering a massive move for Bitcoin right now, in my personal opinion. So as you all know, the dollar is overall falling, but in the last days and weeks, it has actually been rallying up again. And but it failed, as I outlined yesterday, it failed to put in a new high here. So we're in downtrend, which is good. And now what we want to see is that we drop fully and that we really lose this range of previous support. We had a fake out here, but we want to see this losing, and then we can really pump for Bitcoin. I think from everything that you have seen right now, the stacked mega longs, I mean, why are either way, it's a completely degenerate and stupid, or they see something, as we do here on the channel, that makes them believe that Bitcoin is rallying soon. Maybe they have stacked the longs because of this breakout pattern, right? So yeah, smash up the like button, by the way, if you feel that this is correct. Smash the dislike button if you think that I am stupid, or that I am doing everything wrong here, and also let me know about it so I can learn. But yeah, overall, I think that's it. Going back into the logarithmic scale here, Um, yeah, that's where we get the target. Sometimes this I forget to go out of log, but yeah. Robert Freeman says, does coins like Tether, which are attached to US dollar, have any future? Yeah, I think so because it's the most used stable coin. Um, it's the most used stable coin. I think they have a future, but there is a timer on it because I don't know if the I mean, first of all, the future of US Tether is limited by the dollar. If the dollar doesn't survive, but the dollar is still the world reserve currency, so even if it trends lower in value, it doesn't mean that it dies, right? I mean, it's dying since 80, 90 years and it's still there and it's still the world reserve currency and everyone looks at it from a trading perspective. The other point where it's probably limited is that the US and other global actors will probably not allow these stable coins to exist besides the CBDCs. We see it already in China that basically they introduce CBDCs and they're automatically deducting fees from, let's say, traffic penalties and so on from that, or from social credit scores and so on. So yeah, I think I cannot believe that these financial institutions like European Central Bank, the U.S. government, or the U.S. financial oversight, that they will allow all these stable coins to exist besides US dollar CBDC. But we will see. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. Um, yeah, so Bitcoin dominance has, as expected, rallied. Now it's above 50% again. Actually, it was yesterday also, but the days before it has dipped a little bit lower. But we see from this overall trend line here that it's actually rallying. The Bitcoin dominance is still rallying. We are in this early bull where it usually gains momentum. So when it rallies, yeah, altcoins don't like it too much. Okay, we are already very long in the charts, but still, altcoins have bounced a little bit, just to outline that. Nothing to see here. And then we have to talk about Ecomi. Let me just quickly recap that. Yeah, Robert Freeman says that's what I'm wondering, because people are getting off the US dollar. Thank you. Yeah, they get, but just going back quickly. I mean, this is only since. So this is the whole rate hiking environment where people have actually gone more than a year into the dollar because of other currencies being in problems. I think first you will see other currencies in trouble, and yeah, people move back into the dollar for 1.5 years to secure their wealth, and then they move out of it to invest, right? So yeah, we will see. I think the death of the dollar is very more macro than most people believe. I think if you read Ray Dalio, principles of changing world order, it is called. You see that the time frames that you're looking at are very vague, and that you can wait decades for such crashes in world reserve currency to really happen. And maybe also the lessons learned from the past extend, or basically the dollar is on life support, but it could be extending its life way more. Crazy Dan says, hey PH, salmon fishing was great, caught our limit, and the biggest Chinook salmon we got on a board weighed 32 pounds. Also caught and released about 12 small sharks. Holy man, crazy. Okay, yeah, you're really crazy, Dan. But awesome stuff that we have a salmon fisher here on our live stream. Appreciate that a lot, and congratulations to the 32-pound salmon shark. Seems to be. Did you see any whales in? Did you see any whales around stacking longs? at least you saw 12 small sharks, and you released them. That is great. So yeah, sharks are interesting animals. Mashankura says, "What's your take on the PayPal stablecoin? It's not getting as much backlash like the Facebook stablecoin Libra from the politicians." I think, I don't know. So for me, it was like a notification of, yeah, okay, PayPal as one of the financial providers is building a stablecoin to facilitate the financial transactions into this new world of Web3 exchanges, into probably then metaverses, into Web3 gaming, into platforms like X wants to be. But for me, it's just another form of transmitting fiat around around the platform. So I don't care, and I don't want to hold any PayPal stablecoin because that, at least for now, the rumors is that you can basically that there is something in the code where they can just erase your entire financials within the PayPal app. So this would make me scared of them being hacked and then someone erases funds or I don't know what. So I'd rather, honestly, at the moment, I'd rather go with US Tether, USDT than with PayPal stablecoin, for example. Um, yeah, great information. Thank you, Rata Karana. Good to see you again. Yeah, we saw two humpback whales feeding for an hour or so yesterday. Yo, Dan, you are in which country again? Canada, or from where are you fishing? That's crazy. If I ever travel there, can you take me to see some whales? Honestly, it's like one of the it's like one of my life dreams to go somewhere and see whales in real life. Like that would be so amazing, man. I don't know why, but I think these are just one of the most fascinating creatures ever. And the fact that you just get to see them from time to time out there while you're fishing is absolutely insane. Feeding for an hour or so yesterday. So that means that they're like coming up and grabbing these swarms of krill and or small fish. Is that what is meant by feeding? Robert Freeman says, "What do you think about X getting into banking and everything else?" Yeah, oh, you just answered my question. Yeah, I think Elon Musk has really big dreams, and he's trying to realize them by either purchasing companies or building out companies. I mean, you have seen it with Tesla with the electric car. He's dominating a big share of that electric car market, and he has fulfilled this dream. He is fulfilling a dream with like cutting the price of sending satellites and space trips into half by recycling the rockets. Um, and now he has purchased Twitter. He likes to troll, but he also utilizes his companies to try things out, which is what brought him the success with SpaceX. Right? He tried stuff out. He was at the verge of failing before he made a success. So he was actually, if one more rocket would have exploded, he'd probably not make it with the initial SpaceX. Probably. I'm not quite sure, but something of that I read in a very good written article about Elon Musk's undertaking. So I think he'll just take a platform that has very interesting, because we see that a lot of the financial world is on Twitter. Twitter has a big financial community, and more than Facebook and Instagram and so on, right? So probably he wants to take it to the next level with these financially literate people, right? Um, Crazy Dances, you are welcome here anytime, British Columbia, Canada. Awesome. So there are a couple of people in Canada I need to visit. So why not? Why not put this on the trip? I don't know how to get there, and obviously Canada is really big, but I'll figure it out as I go. But will not be this year anymore, because this year is fully planned and no no holiday days left over. But yeah, Robert Freeman says Tesla just came out with that huge supercomputer that they say will be able to answer 1 quintillion things at once. That's absolutely crazy. But computing power is like a resource. It's like fuel these days. So yeah, I think that's a big deal. Crazy dances. You see the humpback and their tails as they deep dive. Oh, okay. So it's not like the big ones when they come up and you see the mouth. Um, I would say the same about Nebraska, but I don't think I can compete with crazy there. Okay. Yeah, I want to. I mean, if ever, at the moment this is not the case, right? I mean, um, we are grinding in a bear market, and my videos. I mean, I've reached 3,000 subscribers. That's, for me, that's a big deal, right? But I cannot live off of it yet, right? But maybe one day I can, and then I want to just travel around the world and see different places together with my girlfriend, obviously. But then, yes, sure. I mean, if you guys are still around, why not Nebraska, British Columbia, whatever? We get to every place. Hopefully, that's the dream. That's the dream. Omi or collectibles? Safe to say, I'm over. Um, yeah, I don't know. So we are looking here at Ecomi, and actually I pulled this up. Let me get into Ecomi here real quick. But I love the discussions and the conversations with you guys. So I want to show you something very interesting. So you see, you know this chart all the time, right? And again, so yesterday I was thinking about targets and logarithmic and so on, because I'm looking at OMI from a logarithmic chart, because otherwise you wouldn't see anything, right? So the logarithmic chart basically puts every move into perspective. So for example, if this move is a 2x against, so every 2x move, no matter what the numeric move is, will be the same size in the logarithmic chart. Like every time it 2x's will be the same size. So if you go out of the logarithmic, this chart looks like this, right? And that's why I put it in logarithmic. But so let's look at this chart just quickly without anything. So this is the Ecomi chart as it is without the logarithmic. Like if you go to the logarithmic, it looks like this, right? So here, that's the full extent of what has happened. And I think from time to time, I'm like every day I'm in this logarithmic chart. But let's just look at the drawdown. So from top to bottom, from the very top, we're down 95% almost, right? But if we look at this looks, and this is something that we need to keep in mind. But with all the hesitation we have regarding Ecomi, right? There's somewhere here a tool that allows me to put a curve in. There we go. So let's just take this. Fuck. Okay. Anyways, let's just do it like. Okay, let's just do it like this, right? So let's just assume. Okay, let's do it like this. Let's just assume that OMI would bottom somewhere here, right? So you could imagine from how it looks that at some point, actually this is not good. That Ecomi is coming out of this, right? On whatever news. So you'd have something like this. Obviously, this would put us somewhere in 2025, which makes absolute sense. And this would put us in a super long accumulation phase as well. But if you're just looking at this Ecomi chart, usually these charts, and don't get fooled by this, because the logarithmic chart has value, but I just want to give you another perspective, right? So you could have, let's just try something here. So you could argue that if you draw a trend line into this, that you are basically out of the downtrend right now, right? So somewhere here. Um, so we have the same price action obviously as in the logarithmic, and don't get fooled by this, because even from a macro perspective, if it looks like a bottom, you can still have a drawdown of, I don't know, for example 30%, and in the in the overall in the overall chart it will look like nothing, right? You can have 30, I mean, if you would invest $1,000 into Ecomi right now, and it just makes a tiny move like this, yeah, I don't know, it would be good if I could just reset, but anyways, it moves like a tiny bit to the downside. This could be a 30% move, so this could make the difference of you having 1,000 and then 700, right? On the other hand, we have to consider that even if Ecomi just comes back to where it has been here in a bull market, that would be 1,000% gain, right? So for sure there is a chance, and this is why I will probably buy a little more just on the hunch. There's a chance that at some point they just bring utility, and maybe they don't, and maybe they abandon, but there is a chance that at some point this just slowly comes back and looks like this, and then at some resistance break it breaks above. I want to give you both options, right? Or both scenarios, let's say. There is a good chance that this will look like this bottom creep line for another half year, 8 months, 10 months, right? We don't know. Honestly, we don't know. But just so that you get the full picture, the full explanation why I'm looking at logarithmic, because there's, in the other chart, there's nothing to see. So I'm looking at the swings. So now here, if you have a 30% swing here and 30% swing here, it will look like this, right? You will really see in relation to how much it gets cut in half and so on. So you see it here, the two drawdowns are looking the same almost here, and then you look at this and they're not the same, like in total numbers, right? So that is what the logarithmic scale does. Yeah, so take you to a hockey game, Robert Freeman says. Okay, interesting. I'd go for it. I don't understand much about hockey, but yeah, I would go to one, and probably this must be really good there, because you guys are very, very enthusiastic about hockey, right? But yeah. Okay, so let's cover some NFT news in the end. I think we observe Ecomi here, by the way. In terms of the logarithmic scale, Ecomi is on the upper part of this trading range and tries to climb higher. And actually, if we see something like it's coming back now to this line, so for me it was always, let's just point here at it. If it comes out of this is already a good sign, right? If it comes out of this would be a good sign. If it tests this, we need to look very carefully, and if it breaks this and closes above, which it didn't here on this wick, but if it closes above here, then this for me would be a first indicator of reversal. And then I would also want to see volume spikes like this. But I mean, there's the argument made that we could see a bottom forming here, but I'm not quite sure yet. I want to see how this plays out, and if this can break above and put in new highs here. I want to see this first to really see, okay, there is a life sign, because this doesn't look, the reaction to what is happening in the market is always the same. We are in this trading range for 100 and I think 30 days or so. Let me actually check that quickly. We are in this trading range for 120 days more or less, right? So yeah, we need to observe. We are going to do that daily on this channel, with the exception of the weekends. and we're going to look at Ecomi. Now, this one, Leonardo's, so this is now NFT news. Leonardo's 450 million Salvator Mundi returns as an NFT by Elmon X. And this one is actually the last time it has been sold. This went for 450.3 million US dollars, and is at the moment in the collection of the Saudi prince. And the name of that guy is Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud, from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. He has this famous picture of Salvator Mundi displaying here Jesus with the crystal orb. Very interesting, collection that the Saudi prince probably has there. So this one is coming out. Last week, Elman X artist proof Mona Lisa was resold on the NFT marketplace OpenSea for 3.7 ETH. So the Mona Lisa is apparently going for $6,500 at the moment. So we see NFTs are not dead, right? So this one is coming out, and maybe for the ETH ones among you, it could be interesting to know about this one. Then we also have some news here. An NFT trader admits nabbing 1.5 million in Ethereum after Elizabeth.eth gets wrecked on Blur. So spotting a bot mimicking his trades, Hanwei Chang used the strategy against its owner to earn a huge premium. So what happened is, he says it here, I noticed that someone's bot was copying my bits on Blur, so I decided to trick him. Chang said on Twitter, adding that he made a profit of 800 Ethereum with the strategy, netting close to $1.5 million. And actually, I mean, you could say now that this is borderline illegal, but on the other hand, I mean, if someone is just blindly putting a bot, or someone's bots are blindly copying without any security protocols and so on in place, it is kind of deserved also. So congratulations to the 1.5 million US dollars there, by tricking the bot into purchasing stuff of him. So he tricked the bot in purchasing 12 Azuki NFTs, shared the specific background color of white A, sold simultaneously for 50 Ethereum worth 91,500 each. The previous Azuki NFT with an off-white A background had sold for less than 5 Ethereum, and so on. So it's all the action is on the Ethereum trading side of the NFTs at the moment, not on Veve, but this could change. Also, yesterday I covered that Cryptoids is bringing Yoda, and how the system is basically flawed. But right now we see that Cryptoids is actually changing the game because of the criticism of the Cryptoids family or Cryptoids community. We totally hear your feedback in regards to Yoda and making this digital toy more accessible to a larger number of collectors. While Grail and Ultra Grail Yodas will be airdropped to set holders, we are working on a number of ideas for additional rarities of Yoda to be more widely available. Stay tuned for more on this soon, and thank you so much for feedback, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what is happening? That means that potentially, besides the Yoda airdrops, there is also a more easily achievable Yoda first appearance coming out on Cryptoids, which will once again spark the discussion about why does Veve not have the first appearance of Yoda and so on the app, and versus that we already have Yoda as posters on the app. I think this discussion at this point will be eternal, and probably only a fraction of the people in the end will care about this. The market is big enough for DC with McFarlane Toys, for Cryptoys, for Veve, and for several others, for Almond X, and for several other crypto projects that are hopefully developing good and make this market more comfortable, more exciting, and more reliable for people, so that people regain the trust in the NFT market. Because a lot of people have been burned by the NFT market. A lot of people lost trust about the drawdown in market value, and yeah, that's basically what we're seeing here right now. Also, Veve. Let's talk quickly about Veve, because there are some new drops announced, one of them is digital paintings show both sides of the story. A beloved Disney princess with a troubled villain from their story. So we see here the Disney princess and the villain from Snow White. And there is another series, so it's just another poster series, but there are always people that like this, go for these drops. I'm not going for this drop because I don't care about Disney princess posters, but still good. Then someone is bragging with 2 Miles Morales animated. So this picture here, everything in this picture together is probably more than $30,000 worth of collectibles, if you consider $12,000 to $15,000 for the Miles, and then $4,000 for the Veve logo, at least $30,000, I'd say. Then we have the first appearance of Cloak and Dagger, Marvel's Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man 64, with rare and ultra rare exclusive covers and another white backed secret rare cover. So here we go with another good comic, I think. Absolute Grail, someone says here. I don't know if that is true or not. We need to check it out, but I think it looks good. For a chance for the secret rare, I probably get one. I think we could take a look here at the rarities already. So it's going to be a weightless blind box drop, and it's only a 5,000 edition run drop. So once again, very scarce. Recommended to go for it, because if you hit the secret rare, usually the secret rares are going for above 100 gems. Recommended going for it only from a collector's perspective. It's not financial advice, although that usually these are holding up pretty well because they are so scarce, and this bear market scarcity actually is something that I'm putting a closer eye on, right? So I mean, we see that these are holding up pretty good in this bear market. So once bull market liquidity comes back, I think they are going to do pretty well. So good luck everyone for these. I think if you hit something rare and above, you're sitting pretty comfortable, and the common is also fine. But yeah, no one wants the uncommons. I know why, because I mean, they should, I don't know, maybe the uncommon is going to be a thing one day, but it's just a colorless common. So yeah, a little bit more scarce, actually pretty scarce, if you consider that uncommons have less variance than some of the ultra rares of the previous drops. So yeah, that is it from the Veve side today. I think we can just quickly check on the VVX tracker if the whale did anything new that was purchasing so many collectibles. We can check this out quickly. Actually, no, there are no new purchases. The number is slowly going down because the days are moving forward. So he stopped after flipping Dr. Profit, apparently. So yeah, there's nothing new, and also the sales numbers of the other one offloading are going down, as we see here. So both stopped their market action right now. So that's what the Veve whales are doing at the moment. Nothing too spectacular. If something has happened, you will be informed on Twitter and obviously on Crypto Morning Coffee every day. Energy says, I didn't buy a comic since several days, but I finished the Mr. Mouse set and the Lambo set. Congratulations to that. How many sets is that for you right now? If you would let me know. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. So you have 200 and something sets, I'm pretty sure. Let me know also if you are appearing in the top 100 one day, so that we can look at that. Yeah, but that is basically it, guys. So, guys, I appreciate it's 240 sets. Yeah, as I figured, amazing, insane, borderline ludicrous. Yeah, as some YouTuber would say. But anyways, guys, let me let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this. Smash up the like button once more, subscribe to the channel, tick the little bell to always get notified whenever I go live or start a video. And there's more to come, by the way, in the next couple of days and weeks. We are going to have some interesting guests on the channel. I will let you know beforehand on Twitter, and I will schedule it beforehand so that you see it. And then Mashinkura asked, what is your username on Veve? Want to follow if it is public. The the cut is mine. My username is Basement Jack, and yeah, I didn't switch it. I should ask support, by the way, but I don't know. Last time I checked, my username was some wallet just took this username, and I probably can't take that one anymore. So I just stuck with this. It has also my picture as profile picture. Let me see. I think I have some collectibles listed, but I can. What could I list so that you guys can find me? I have I think I can list my Kingo. I have a 61 mint Kingo or something like that. Yeah, there are only 37 in the market, so I will list my number 61. Oh, actually, it's listed already, so it's listed for like a lot of money. So if you head over to Kingo, I think I have one of the lowest mints on the market. But let me see this. Yeah, I have the third lowest mint on the market for 2.9k, so you can find me. PH, I guess the search bar is okay to find you. Yeah, if it works with the search bar, then it's all fine. So it's just Basement Jack all together. Yeah. Can you post on the Veve feed so we can follow you? Let's go. Yeah, I'll post on the Veve feed. Share message. GM fam. I'll just write GM fam. Okay. So yeah, now you can. It's up. You can follow me. I have posted on the Veve feed. I have the lowest mint Cookie Monster. What can I say? I'm a baker in a pastry chef, or was. Oh yeah, that's awesome. So that collectible is made for you. That is really great. Okay, guys, I have to leave because I have to jump into the hamster wheel. So guys, it was really awesome today. Thank you for the nice conversation. And wherever you are on the world, have yourselves a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. And I see you tomorrow in Crypto Morning Coffee.